We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where he drafted quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shador's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every time he's there, he just finds a way, and he's going to break through. Look at Cameron Young. Cameron Young was one of those guys, too. Remember Cameron Young? Second in the Open Championship. Fourth, plays great in majors. Almost won the Canadian Open again. I seen this guy play live. I'm like, this guy not have a win. And then last week, Kev, you saw what he did. He put his foot on your throat, wrestling style. He didn't just win. He murdered the competition last week.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He comes back, and what are we talking about? Mid-August at that point, and then he gets a couple more starts and they're ready for the postseason. So right now, I would say probably not an issue long-term. You know, obviously change the lines of what we're going to see today. I haven't seen the lines reopen, at least on the FanDuel Sportsbook. They're locked right now, so not an issue right now. As long as he comes back and he still has that plant leg and he's still strong with that, probably no worries for the Brewers right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Time to rise and grind. It's the Early Line right here on the SportsGrid Network. It is a Tuesday. We got to get you through to Hump Day Wednesday to the weekend here where preseason action week number 2 would be underway and a lot more rookie quarterbacks out there seemingly fighting for jobs and positions. It's a glorious day. It's mid-August. It's what we do on the SportsGrid Network. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Ranieri. And Joe, as you know, we got 2 hours to get the people ready for their Tuesday and also into their SportsGrid day. I think we're up to the task. What do you say?
I am ready to go here. A lot of news and notes, both college and NFL actually popping up here today, Donnie.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to talk a lot about this during the show because it is NFL season. It's August 12th. We're waiting for week number 2, which turns into week number 3. Then the cut line comes out, and then we see the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys line up on Thursday Night Football, and away we go into our NFL season. But let's get to the 7 and 7, the hottest sports topics across the landscape here, and that starts in Los Angeles. Joe, we've been talking about this for quite some time. Like, I wonder where the Rams start to factor in if something is really wrong with Matthew Stafford. It says, don't worry about it, guys. Matthew Stafford doesn't return to practice when he was supposed to return to practice. And they're telling us, Joe, don't worry. It's early.
Yeah, but it's really not for a 37, 38-year-old quarterback with a back problem. It's actually pretty late in the game here. But listen, the good news is it's obvious. It sounds like Stafford wanted to be out in practice, wanted to get going again. And McVay and the staff were like, yeah, no, it's way more important that we make sure you're as good as you're going to get come week 1 as opposed to rolling you out there in preseason. So good news, bad news. They're not trying to rush him back. And quite honestly, he doesn't really need to go through this at 38 years old, does he, Donnie?
No, he doesn't. And by the way, we got some clips from Sean McVay coming up in the next segment you certainly want to tune into, but also at this point now, right? Do you remember it goes back to like the wife was like, Matthew goes into the locker room and he doesn't understand all these young wide receivers in here. And I don't know if he likes football anymore. Like, I can't wait to, like, she has her podcast out with now that has a back injury to get some information from Kelly Stafford, not from Matthew Stafford. Let's keep it moving in the NFL. Yesterday, the big news, and I thought, Joe, we would get these answers yesterday when we were live on the Early Line, but Landon Dickerson, Eagles Pro Bowler, now considered week to week with a meniscus injury. I guess they're going about maybe a quick trim here to see if they can get him back in the fold. The one thing I got to say, Offensive linemen are tough as all get up, man. Knee injury, don't care. Hobble around, don't care. Just put me out there, coach. And it looks like that's what Landon Dickerson's going to do. But it looks like the worst case scenario was avoided for the Eagles guard.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people that were apparently at the practice when this happened, and boy, you could hear a pin drop from what I understand when they were carrying him off the field. But good news, man. Sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good, right, Donnie? I mean, the fact that that's just a minor situation and your all-pro guard goes week to week, that could not have turned out any better outside of it just not happening for the Eagles.
No doubt about it. So you got some key injury news there. You got Matthew Stafford. You got Landon Dickerson looking to work their way back into the fold to get ready for week number 1. Here come the question marks. Not from an injury, but from a holdout. Steelers Cam Ward. Hey, man, hints at sitting out until that contract is handled. Here's the issue I have. He's old in his career, right? Still a very effective player. He's like Mr. Steeler, the heartbeat of that locker room. But sometimes you think to yourself when you go, all right, well, Cam Ward's going to play. He wants to play, but he wants more money. How motivated is he to play? Is it just about the money at this point? And it's not as if, Joe, he was coming into the season, man, we got him on a bargain, $2.3 million, and that's it. $15 million, which they already escalated into a bonus that he basically got in his account. It's almost like he's double dipping. Should he get more and strike while the iron's hot? Maybe so. But this one just feels like the Steelers are like, hey, hold on, man. You're up there in your career anyway. You're getting $15 million this year. How much more do you want?
Yeah, I think the problem is he got a majority of that in like a signing bonus. So, and the other problem is the market got reset over the offseason with linemen and, rushers. Let's face it here. If you're Pittsburgh, you got to figure this out because you are a million times more lethal on defense with him and Watt on the field doing their thing as opposed to just Watt and nobody else. So they need, if they're going to be as lethal defensively as we think they can be, they need to figure this out with him and sooner rather than later. Although I don't think it has to happen now, but by the time we get to game 1, don't you think, Donnie, they better figure this out here and get him on the field?
And also, understand this. He's old in his career. He's a lineman. Do you want to just be going nuts all through camp, 95-degree temperatures, working there? Maybe it's one of those Jadeveon Clowney situations like, hey, I'll see you the first week of the season. Just give me my money. I'll be right. I'll see you then. We'll see what happens with Cam Ward. Let's keep it moving in college football here. The AP poll is out. Texas, number 1. Penn State, number 2. Ohio State, number 3. Clemson, 4. And Georgia, 5 as it rounds out the top 5 here. The AP poll, not this Saturday, Joe. Next Saturday? Yeah, we're live on college football.
Yeah, and here's what I wouldn't spend a lot of time studying this poll here because as sure as you and I are sitting here a week from Monday, none of that will be the same, even remotely close to being the same. So, go ahead. It's nice. Congratulations, Texas and Penn State. But week 0 is going to change a lot of what you see on that poll.
The most meaningless thing in sports is the preseason poll in college football and college basketball. What it actually does is probably get a lot of coaches fired as opposed to help them. Hey, you came in the season ranked number 3. Where'd you end up? Outside the top 25. New coach, come on in. But I didn't think that we were that good. We should have been number 3. It is here and there. It's just fun to talk about here, but absolutely means nothing on the season itself. I'll tell you what does mean something, though, the Alabama starting quarterback situation. Ty Simpson, come on down. You're the starter. Joe, last time I saw him, I actually had a live bet in that game in a monsoon down at USF, which Alabama was able to win. But that was the game, if you remember, benching Jalen Milroe for Nick Saban to sort of jumpstart his career once again. Interesting situations. But now Simpson, he's going to be tabbed for game number 1 this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was the backup to Jalen Milroe, but he's only got about 50 passes during his college career. So he is still a bit of a unknown, but there was quite the competition going on at Alabama over the last couple of months. So if Ryan Grubb, the new OC there at Alabama, is pointing to him, he's got to believe he can throw the ball because we all know Grubb, the reason he left Seattle is he wanted to throw the ball far too often there. So it should be interesting to see how this works out.
Ty Simpson in there. By the way, let's get over to the Major League Baseball diamond. You can't stop them. You just hope to contain them. We're talking about the Milwaukee Brewers, double-digit wins in a row. And my goodness, like Bernie Brewer. How many times are you going to have to go down that slide with victories and home runs for the Brew Crew, man? 74 wins, 44 losses. The best team in Major League Baseball hammered the Pirates yesterday 7-1.
And they just keep going. That's it. They just keep going. So, and there appears to be a theme here too, Donnie, is that just when you think, all right, the right match, here's where they take a step back. Yeah, no. I mean, it's just not even remote. Quintana is throwing the ball like he's a Cy Young Award winner. It's crazy right now.
Yeah, I don't know team total yesterday with the Pirates, man. Quintana, I mean, Quintana maybe has foiled me more than just about any other pitcher, that slop guy out there, but we're neither here nor there. How about the Houston Astros? Christian Javier comes back, gives up 2 earned runs in the first inning. Oh, my goodness. They're going to get shelled tonight. You're right. A big Boston favorite. Not the case. 7-6 victory. The Astros as the big dog at home yesterday. Pick up the victory over the Sox.
Yeah, and a couple of rough innings there for Crochet, who got lit up and got a bomb. McCormick hit a shot. I think they're still looking for it in Houston off of Crochet, but they did make a big comeback there towards the end of that game, and the Astros held on.
13 runs, 20 hits total. Other news and notes around the league. How about this? Like Taylor Swift going to go on the New Heights podcast with Travis Kelce, her boyfriend, to announce the album. I think the album's already out. What am I watching it for at this point? Let's talk to Sean McVay now.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Rocking and rolling on a Tuesday morning right here on the early line, the Sports Grid Network. It's Donnie writes out, it's Joe Ranieri. It's what we do Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and away we go to set you up on your Sports Grid day. Now, we got a lot of hot topics to talk about, but one of those topics that I can't seem to shake right now, Joe Ranieri, is the fact that we're talking about the Rams and their quarterback situation. To help us set the table, let's hear right from the head coach, Sean McVay, on some updates here.
Sounds good. I agree
hear
with
it.
everything
Okay.
he said, Donnie. I agree with everything he said. I'm just saying.
I love it. I love what Sean McVay said there. Hopefully everybody out there heard that as well. But we'll get that up here in just a few moments. But we do have video, Joe. So before that video actually pops up, just setting the table that we just talked about in the previous segment. The issues are you don't get healthier during the season as an older player. If you're basically taking an epidural to get ready for the season, I think that clip is ready to go for us here, Joe. So let's take a listen.
You know, like we've said, we're going to be flexible and fluid. I think more than anything, I feel for Matthew because of how much he wants to be out there and feel good. Ultimately, what ended up happening, had a great workout, felt good, but then, you know, come in today and it doesn't feel great. And so didn't think that was the right decision to be able to push him. We've kind of always talked about flexibility, being fluid with some of the plans. And I think more than anything, you know, I feel for a guy that, you know, I really care about that wants to be out there more than anything else. We're going to be smart, you know, but he didn't feel good enough, and we didn't think it was the right thing to do based on, you know, how he woke up feeling today.
Sounds troublesome, Joe. You heard what he just said there. Had a good workout, but then didn't feel good the next day. What's going to happen when he's out there throwing 45 times a game with absolute stud pass rushers pancaking him in the pocket here? I don't like what I hear at L.A.
Well, you know, what he didn't offer up in that, Donnie, in that press conference was any sort of new hard timeline for when they expect him to return. I mean, he had been... They had labeled him, week to week earlier in training camp, but now apparently they're saying they're just going to evaluate him on a day-to-day basis. Like, what are we looking at here? Like, what is the timeline for you to be able to get him ready? Because none of what he just said leads me to believe there's any sort of confidence in there being a timeline that he's on his way back in any way, shape, or form.
Football players are as tough as all get out, and so is Matthew Stafford. He took a beating in Detroit. He came to Los Angeles, finally had a good football team, good head coach, good play caller, and ended up winning a Super Bowl. But you never beat Father Time. And if the issues are coming up like back issues, Joe, that's torque. That's moving in the pocket. That's getting out of the way of a sack. That's getting pancaked 3 to 4 times a game, being able to get back up here, not saying, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before I finally can get out of bed on a Friday and start practicing again. Those are the issues that you have, because it's not just being out on the field. It's, hey, I felt good today, and then the next day you don't feel so good. So what does that mean for practice? Because understand this too, Joe. From a quarterback perspective, you are the captain of the football team. You command that huddle. Your cadence here is what everybody's used to on the offensive line. You having that chemistry with your new wide receiver, Devontae Adams, along with obviously Puka Nacua, being out there on a day-to-day basis. You can't go, I'm not going to practice basically during the week and I'll see you on Sunday. That doesn't work. We understand that. You got to be in it to win it all week long, sitting there in that locker room, in that meeting room, in that film room, and then delivering out on the practice field, because timing is everything. That's what I worry about. You're missing key contributions from the quarterback and the wide receiver group right now in training camp because Matthew Stafford's back hurts here. That is troublesome as you can get.
It's not great at all. And nothing, again, if I'm a Rams fan, nothing I'm listening to McVay say there makes me feel any better. I mean, we heard after the Cowboy game, right, that we're sitting him, but he'll be back at practice and everything will be good to go, right, after the preseason nope. Now, all of a sudden, that's the look of dread on a coach's face that we've seen time and time again. Listen, what was it? Stetson Bennett, that you got Jimmy G, right? You got Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
You've got some guys that might be able, I hate the Jimmy G idea, but you do at least, you have to believe it's a coach's league, right? Coaching matters in this league, and he is one of the best, McVay, to do a lot with a little here. So if this does extend into the regular season, I'm still pretty confident that McVay, whoever he puts under center there, he'll put him in a position to succeed. I still like the ceiling for the Rams, but obviously it takes a hit if you don't have Matt Stafford for the season under center.
Joe, we're handicappers. We like to analyze things, and how's that work in those futures markets here for the Los Angeles Rams? Because I'll be honest, in the offseason, I was really excited about the Rams. There's a lot to like. Quote, coach, been a top 5 play caller in the NFL, Super Bowl already under his belt. Matthew Stafford, as good as they get when he's healthy here, Super Bowl under his belt. An organization that spent some money at running back to keep Kyren Williams happy. He's a very good running back. You added a wide receiver to go with Puka Nacua. I liked everything about that all season, which also included a young and developing front seven that can get after the pass rusher. But everything breaks down when your lead dog and Matthew Stafford isn't healthy. What does that mean for the future? Week number 1, 2.5-point favorite there versus Houston. You take a look at the win total, sitting there at 9.5. Double digits is what they have to win here in that NFC West to make the playoffs. A minus 144 price. Everything gets put on hold. You lose a linebacker, Joe, a defensive end, a cornerback, a running back. It's like, okay, still got everything intact because your quarterback is there. Entering into the season, my vibes from saying, man, what an off season. I got to hold my breath right now. How about you?
I have a little bit more confidence in what they have set up behind there. Right. And a lot of that comes from, listen, I thought Stetson Bennett looked pretty good against the Cowboys there. And I know they have the position players. They got a running game. They've got explosive wide receivers. Again, McVay is a guy that is going to put whoever the quarterback is in a position to succeed and not lose the game. He's never going to ask any of the backups to go out, all right, need you to go out and win a game. They'll figure it out. And they'll buy as much time as they can in order to be able to get Stafford back on the field. No guarantees, but they will play it smart.
Yeah, that NFC West here, right? You get the 49ers with a lot of question marks, talented team, but many injuries and guys that you hope just stay healthy throughout the season. Arizona, maybe that up-and-coming team here as we take a look at, and also in the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks. So I look at the Rams as the most talented team, top to bottom. That goes out the window if we're not going to get a healthy season out of Matthew Stafford, and we're worried about him starting week number 1. Put it this way, Joe. We're worried about him getting out of the gates. He's not finishing the race. We know that. We know how this works. Not a 26-year-old that can rejuvenate overnight. In his 30s here at the end of his prime, that could be certainly an issue. There are some other injury situations that we got to get the people updated on, which includes with the Philadelphia Eagles and the holdout. Cam Ward over there in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Come on back. It's the early line on a Tuesday morning.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino, but playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour, but online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, at a 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this, in which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Injury information. It happens at this time of the year. You don't even get to the starting block, Joe, and some people getting knocked out for the season. We saw with the Chargers with Slater. I mean, my goodness, one of the best tackles in football just signed a big deal. He's out. You know who got re-upped this offseason too? Landon Dickerson, making a lot of money. He looked like he might be down for the entire season due to a practice at Lincoln Financial Field that happened late. Step on somebody else's foot there, twist up a knee, and away you go. But Ian Rappaport tweeted yesterday, Eagles Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson, who suffered a meniscus injury on Sunday night, is having minor knee surgery in the coming days per me and Mike Garofalo. He's considered week to week with the goal of being available to begin the regular season. Best news you could possibly have for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, one of the best guards in football. Look like he might be down for the year or 6 to 8 months. Looks like it might only be week to week here. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see him Thursday night versus the Dallas Cowboys to open the season at Lincoln Financial Field, Joe.
That should surprise nobody, because anybody who understands the history of Landon Dickerson, it goes back to his final season there at Alabama, I believe, when he suffered a season-ending knee injury at Bama there, and then he wasn't able to participate in any of the pre-draft stuff or anything really with the first summer with the team. And then, of course, last year, Donnie, he was pulled in the game in the second half of the NFC Championship game. He was limited in practices right up until the Super Bowl, and yet, yeah, he managed to play, didn't he? And he played extremely well. So this is about as tough a dude as you get. And the fact that he's been dealing with injuries like this now his entire career, and he still figures out a way to avoid the big injury, kudos to this guy. This guy is a warrior, and it goes to show you exactly what that offensive line of the Eagles, that's going to be a very interesting group this year.
Like, he's a mountain of a man. Like, if there's any way that we can pull that picture back up on the screen from that tweet and just look at, like, Landon Dickerson. Because, look, we don't play NFL football. We're not defensive tackles, Joe. We're not linebackers, safeties here. But, like, the tush-push comes at you. Like, this dude on the screen is coming full blast off the line of scrimmage. Like, how do you stand your own ground? I don't even care if you're 300 pounds. Like, when he just road grate you into the end zone, that's what the Eagles do. I don't know how you can get around Landon Dickerson in that situation.
And he's a guard, so imagine that inertia as he's pulling around the end and coming after a defensive back at like 198, 200. Like, you lose, dude. Like, you lose every time. This guy and this entire offensive line, by the way, which is one of the strengths of the Eagles. They do have some depth there. They're still trying to figure out. I think Tyler Steen would be the backup if he can't go, but they have dumped a lot of assets into building that offensive line for the Eagles, and they got a Super Bowl ring, don't they? And they're going to defend that pretty well, I think, this year.
By the way, you know what's also interesting too, Joe? Like, when I talk about, like, we grew up in the day, like, usually, like, guards would pull out, and if you're a cornerback, you could take the guard's leg out and sort of sacrifice yourself. You can't do that anymore. It's called like a block below the waist for the defense. So you just have to take him head on when he's coming at you like 350. Nonsense at this point here. Let's get to the Steelers camp here. Cam Hayward, not to be confused with Cam Jordan, not to be confused with Cam Ward, the quarterback. Everybody gets those confused. It's easy to do. Defensive tackle Cam Ward for the Steelers. He wants his money, and he wants it now. Otherwise, he's not going to provide his services. What do you think about that?
I usually get him confused with Cam Stewart, so I'm glad that you absolutely clarified that for us there, because that is tough.
Too many Cams.
But I will say this though: he is currently the 22nd highest paid defensive lineman in the league. Now, you tell me. Is he what, the 22nd best defensive lineman in the league? Absolutely not. Don't forget, this market got reset over the offseason here, and he is not asking for the world, but you're talking about a dude last year. He was tied 6th in sacks in the NFL. He had 8. He was 4th in pressures. He was 4th in tackles for loss. He had more batted passes than any other defensive lineman. Does that sound, even at 35, 36 years old, like the 22nd best defensive lineman in the league, Donnie? I see where he's coming from.
By the way, I'm assuming this Alan Saunders is like a beat writer maybe for Pittsburgh, because I'm just looking at the comments on X below, and it's kind of funny because, like, the first comment is, did he mention anything about if he got injured again or if he didn't make the Pro Bowl that he'd give money back and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, does he have to give money back for all the games he missed in recent seasons? People getting up. Look, nobody really sides with the athletes all that much. Like, brother, you're making $15 million. Just be happy you're doing it. That's not the way professional works. It's not real life the way we operate. And also, This guy's a great locker room guy. Like, he's Mr. Steeler. Just make him happy this year. Try to get a Super Bowl run, and away you go. More hot topics on deck next, right here on the Early Line.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, at a 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Let's get after it. Same thing we do every single morning on the Early Line. It's what we do. It's the SportsGrid Network. Get in the mix, people. College football, NFL, it's all coming up soon. And also, one coming up a little bit sooner than the other one. Yeah, we're going to wait till the first week of September, Joe, for that Thursday night football game in Philadelphia. But we're not going to wait too much longer for the college football season. Not this Saturday, which you'll wake up and yawn and be like, ooh, we're 7 days away from college football. I feel like we're not ready for the college football season, but we're ready for the college football season, if that makes sense, Joe. You know what I mean? Like, just getting prepared to see it on your TV. And when it does appear in 2 Saturdays, like, this is fantastic. And then before you know it, it's like week 11. Like, what happened? Where did it all go?
Yeah, well, and what makes it even better, Donnie, is we're in an era in college football where there is a big push to play very meaningful games as early as possible in the season. And we are getting a ton of those in week 0 here. I mean, this is no longer Alabama versus the Sisters of the Poor. Like, this is, we are going to go mano-a-mano. We're going SEC, Big Ten. We're going Notre Dame, Miami. I mean, we have got monster games right out of the gate, and I love it that way. I think that's the way it should always be because, listen, these teams we know are likely going to be, at least the ones playing in week 0 are going to be top 10 teams with an opportunity to play for a national championship. If you're going to lose a game, I want to lose in week 0, Donnie, give myself an opportunity to be able to come back and learn a little something. So none of these teams that are going to lose, by the way, in week 0 can be ruled out of anything except maybe dropping in this poll here, which makes no sense to me anyway, if we're being completely honest here with how is Penn State the number 2 team is beyond me.
Penn State, quarterback returning back Drew Aller, dominant backfield here. But number 1 overall is Texas, number 3 Ohio State, 4 Clemson, 5 Georgia, 6 Notre Dame, 7 Oregon, 8 Alabama, 9 LSU, and the Miami Hurricanes are number 10. But you bring up a good point at this, too. Like, it used to be like you opened up the season, and college football in the past, which I loved it. I love it now as well. You lose opening day, you're probably never going to win a national championship, even if you lost a game against a top 10 opponent, which seems like it wasn't fair, but that's just the way it was. Mythical national championship, you got to go undefeated, and you got to beat all those teams just to wind up in that championship game. But I got to tell you, there is something special about these early season matchups that get you so excited. Like in the past, we've seen it so many times, like the Miami-Florida State games that used to play on Labor Day weekend were absolutely spectacular. One of those games in overtime, Frank Gore rumbling into the end zone, like sets up your entire season for success against a rival. But understand this, you do get some brownie points for loading up early in the season, and even if you take a loss, you can recover, and the polls will find kindly on that because they'll go, well, hey, look, 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4 in the preseason here, basically week 0, week 1, you lose that, you can rebound. In the past, you couldn't do that. And we're going to get a spectacular game, Joe, right off the start with Texas and Ohio State. And Ohio State's going to be at home in the Horseshoe, a slight favorite over number 1 Texas. The total is 47.5. Intrigue all the way around. Like, you could just dive right back into college football immediately and sink your teeth into an absolute thriller for what we're expecting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it wasn't like Texas didn't have some success, right? In its infancy here in the SEC. Now they're the number 1 team in the country preseason wise, and that carries a lot of weight, but with that comes a lot of expectations, Donnie, and that Texas fan base might be one of the most unrealistic, unself-aware fan bases that you will ever see. Every year, though, like many schools, though, but Texas is over the top. And anybody that has seen the locker room renovations at Texas, have you seen those, Donnie, with what they've got better luxuries than NFL locker rooms right now at Texas. There is a lot of pressure for this University of Texas football team to come out hot on the road in one of the hardest places to play in the country at Ohio State at the Shoe and come out and dominate them, the champions. Good luck here. Can the Longhorns deal with all the pressure that comes with being number 1 is going to be what I'm interested to see.
Yeah, it used to be in the past, like every once in a while, we'd get those big games, call them the Kickoff Classic in college football. Usually play like the Meadowlands. I remember going to school in northern New Jersey, and the one year was Texas A&M, and it was Florida State to open up the season. I was there. It was fantastic, but you don't really get those matchups a lot, but now we are going to see a titanic matchup within the first 2 weeks of the season, which is a lot of fun. And just, again, looking at the Blue Bloods, because I'm like, I'll give the other schools a chance. Like, I like traditional teams. Like, how many times, Joe, have you stumbled on, like, the 30 for 30s that run endlessly with the Catholics versus the Convicts and Notre Dame and Miami and their legacies that they had in, old Notre Dame Stadium and Jimmy Johnson and Lou Holtz. Like, those are the ones we love, rivalry games. And Texas, Ohio State, even though it's not a blue blood long-term rivalry they played a ton of times, it's 2 blue blood programs going toe to toe. And those fan bases are so passionate and sometimes over the top. Like with Texas, expectations are a championship every year. Ohio State feels like their expectations are a championship every year, and they can fulfill them. Good head coach in Ryan Day, one of the best recruiters, in Heartline on the offense. But that's the way we go into the season, which then brings us up to what are the expectations for the season? Who are the teams that should be able to win a championship? And yes, you're looking at the top and the blue bloods that we just talked about. Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, Alabama up there. If you had to take a shot right now, knowing what these teams are supposed to look like as opposed to what we know by like week 4, week 5, who are you going with preseason, Joe?
Well, it's interesting because nobody is talking about Georgia, which I find hilarious, but it's not like none of these these teams at the top, Donnie, don't have a lot of question marks. I mean, even Texas in the number 1 spot, they had 4 offensive linemen that they have to replace who are currently in NFL camps right now. 3 NFL draft picks. You have you've got a brand new quarterback in Arch Manning, although he has been there. This is his first year as a starting quarterback, and you have questions on the offensive line. And if you're Ohio State, you have to replace 14 NFL draft picks, 7 in the first 2 rounds, and you've got to kind of slot new guys in there. So you got 2 new coordinators. You got Brian Hartline, promoted to call plays for the first time. Matt Patricia, because Jim Knowles left to go to Penn State, is your defensive coordinator for the first. Yeah, there is a ton of question marks with all of these teams, especially the number 1 and number 3 team in the country that are going to face off with expectations of a national championship.
No doubt about it. Heisman race certainly should be a lot of fun to watch it play out. And Arch Manning is the favorite at a 7-1 price, followed by Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier 9-1, Smith 11-1, and Simpson 16-1. We know these things are going to change from times, but also if you're taking a look at Arch Manning being the full-time starter, going on the road and knocking off Ohio State, what does that number go to? I don't even care what he does in the game. He doesn't need 325 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 75 yards on the ground. Just win that game. He's probably going to cut that number in half. But opportunities outside of Arch Manning, who could you be looking for here, Joe?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I do think that Clemson is a interesting undervalued commodity if you're looking in the futures market. And I think if that does come to fruition, keep in mind that Clemson defensively was atrocious last year. So what does Dabo do? He brings in Tom Allen, the former head coach at the University of Indiana. He brings him in, great defensive coordinator. I expect them to be much better defensively. And you've got Klubnik there, who is former Texas guy, who is no stranger to big games. He has been there. He has done this now. This could be a year here in which Clemson surprises a lot of people, and so does Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, how about Smith there as a wide receiver from Ohio State, 11-1 price, absolutely talented. Who is it? Ryan Williams down in Alabama. You got some really good wide receivers, but typically it is a quarterback award unless you get a running back that's like, yeah, I'm going for 2,900 yards and 50 touchdowns here to try to knock some of these quarterbacks off the podium at this point. But we are excited, certainly for college football, and the SportsGrid Network definitely going to have you covered here in the fall. Number 1, Texas, number 3, Ohio State, right off the bat. Week 0 starts next Saturday, and away we go. Weeks 1, 2, 3, all the way through. That basically goes as long as the NFL with the expanded playoff now. You get a lot of college football in a short period of time, and I cannot wait for it to get started in just a few weeks. Yeah, the dog days of summer are turning into the dog days of football, baby, and we love that. Let's get over to the Diamond. Houston, Boston, anybody? We'll find out next.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
While we're talking about some good high-end options, it's pretty pedestrian once you get through about 25 or so running backs. And so you got to be so much more mindful that the cliff does take place in your draft at running back, much more so than it does at wide receiver, where there are 40, 45 options that you could talk yourself into having pretty good seasons this year.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I was that confused trying to figure out why Cameron Young isn't as good as he should be, because we've seen all the flashes. Like at some point of his career, he's been elite at something. Like he's been elite at putting this year. He's been an elite iron player. He's been an elite driver of the golf ball. So check out this chart I had to get.
We got a chart.
Look at this chart that I had to come up with.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. If you just take them that's place higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that bag.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Focus of yesterday on the Major League Baseball diamond. A lot of teams played out there. We'll get to most of them here. The Philadelphia Phillies picked up a win over the Reds here and another comeback for them. Strong bullpen effort. They're just getting clutch hits right now, sort of getting away from the New York Mets. But the two teams that we really wanted to look at yesterday were the Red Sox and the Astros. And some of us found it a little bit interesting where the Red Sox were playing the Astros and a heavy favorite on the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox theoretically had the better pitcher on the mound in Garrett Crochet, but Christian Javier was coming back and saying, if we can just get this guy right down the stretch, boy, we got good starting pitching. Hitters are going to get healthier and a solid bullpen. Why can't we make a run? And yesterday maybe wasn't going to be that day. The Red Sox, Joe, struck right off of the bat. 2 quick runs off of Javier. It's like, this is going to get ugly. This is an easy victory. This is why the odds makers are the smartest men in the room. Not so fast. Final score, 7-6 Astros, 20 total hits, 13 total runs. But the Astros get the underdog upset win over the Boston Red Sox, and away we go. 67 wins for the Astros, 65 for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was all Houston early and often there as they certainly made Crochet work. They hit a couple of home runs, right? Ramon Urias had a big day there, 3 hits. A 2-run homer. Chase McCormick, I mean, the ball he hit off of Crochet was just absolutely tattooed. But the problem is that usually very steady and locked down Houston bullpen wasn't as steady and locked down last night because Boston, what a comeback there, scoring 4 in the 8th, I think it was, Donnie, to put a scare into Houston. They eventually held on. You win the battle, but they might have lost the war because apparently Josh Hader could be shelved for a little while now for Houston.
Yeah, take a look at Javier. Actually went 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs given up, 85 pitches, which is really good. His last start in the minors, that final rehab start, Joe, about 75 to 77 pitches here. So we went longer than that, but that is a great sign. And also, the sign that you love even more, you start that game and it's rocky. It's like, I could have folded up, didn't have it tonight, 2 1/3 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, and we get blown away. How about him settling down as you went? I love to see it at this point. Now, Hector Neris, former Philadelphia Philly, 2/3 of an inning, 3 earned runs given up. You can't do that. That game certainly flies over the total when many thought it had it sort of pegged as an under, as a possibility here. But on the season itself now, you take a look at the comparison between these two. They're close, 65 wins and 67 wins. You look at the Astros here in first place in the West saying, all right, well, maybe we can win this and we can get a little bit of that home field advantage once we get to the playoffs. But if you take a look at the opposite side, the Boston Red Sox with that loss sit 4.5 games back under the Toronto Blue Jays. So if we're eyeing up those two teams, AL pennant race wise, there's no surprise why I say, boy, they're really evenly matched. Why would the AL pennant be plus 850 for the Red Sox and then also plus 430 for the Houston Astros? Well, I just explained it there. If you have the division, it's an easier path to victory than coming in as a wild card. But these two teams are certainly closely matched, and I like what the Red Sox are doing. They might not win that division, but they can certainly be a player in the playoffs, Joe.
Well, it was good they got Bregman back, right? And what does he do to his old team, right? He hits a 2-run home run in the first inning to give them the lead. But if you're Boston, you got to look at, Roman Anthony, you're the future there, who you just gave a big contract to. He had a big home run there in that 4-run 7th inning, which, by the way, all came with 2 outs. So the Red Sox are a very interesting team here who is starting to believe, and I think Bregman's health and him being back with this team, that veteran presence, a guy that knows how to win this time of year. I think Boston, they start believing in themselves. It's going to be interesting to see. It's the bullpen to me, though, that has got to hold up for them.
Guess who's back? It's the New York Yankees. The Yankees with a victory yesterday. Their 63rd of the season, a 6-2 victory over the Minnesota Twins. You're supposed to beat the Twins. That's what's supposed to happen. Zebby Matthews came in, high ERA, but also a very good xFIP number. He went 5 2/3 innings pitched, 6 innings, and 3 earned runs. Not a terrible start, but also we know he's a strikeout guy. 9 strikeouts in that lineup, but that didn't deter the Yankees. Knocked him out of the game, scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th, tacked on another one in the bottom of the 8th inning, and away they go in a 6-2 victory. I was ready to tweet out because there was a boost yesterday on Bet365, Joe, and it was Aaron Judge to get a base hit and the Yankees to win. Felt like everybody in the lineup was getting base hits but Aaron Judge, but he did come through late in that game with an RBI single, 1 for 4 in that game with an RBI, so 2 strikeouts. Average goes from 337 down to 336, but the Yankees come away with a victory. Judge gets that base hit here. Bellinger certainly a home run. Giancarlo Stanton a home run. Good vibes, at least getting a victory in the room for the Yankees was much needed yesterday.
Well, and even more importantly, I mean, Will Warren gave them the start that they absolutely needed, going 6 2/3, and the kid was absolutely, phenomenal. And by the way, the Twins ended up getting Byron Buxton back before this game. He was in the lineup. He ends up hitting a home run for Minnesota, a solo shot. But outside of 2 solo home runs, the Yankees needed a pitcher to go more than 5 innings, Donnie, right? I mean, we can't keep sweating out the bullpen. And Will Warren is now the only pitcher on the Yankees that has gone more than 5 innings in over a month right now to start a game. So you got to like what you've seen from him, and maybe, just maybe, the Twins is what the Yankees needed in order to get this thing going again.
Yeah, taking a look here, I want to see, we know what that the total for that game was yesterday. I'm just trying to slide it back here. Let me see. Yankees, it was 8.5, Joe. And since we are handicappers, we are gamblers, and we like to watch, this number was 8.5. If I would have said, Joe, I just got a lightning bolt from the sky, and they told me there is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 home runs yesterday with an 8.5 total, and it stayed under. I mean, come on. Like, you should just give up on life at that point, Joe, where if you got information that 6 home runs would be hit and an 8.5 total and it not get home. That's unbelievable, man.
Especially when you have Bellinger, Stanton, and Ben Rice homering off of good old Zebby there. And you would think, well, there had to be guys on base with those guys up at the, in the middle of the order here, right? Nope, all solo shots. Even Jazz hit one there as well. Yeah. And nobody on. Like, just nobody on. Unreal.
Like, I like to sometimes take parlays with all team totals at 2.5. Like, hey, Donnie, the Twins are going to hit 2 home runs yesterday. Maybe the easiest one I'm going to get. Yeah, they only scored 2. 6 home runs equates to 8 runs. That doesn't make any math sense at this point. But as we say, that's baseball. And more baseball talk coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Right here on the Early Line.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
While we're talking about some good high-end options, it's pretty pedestrian once you get through about 25 or so running backs. And so you got to be so much more mindful that the cliff does take place in your draft at running back, much more so than it does at wide receiver, where there are 40, 45 options that you could talk yourself into having pretty good seasons this year.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I was that confused trying to figure out why Cameron Young isn't as good as he should be, because we've seen all the flashes. Like at some point of his career, he's been elite at something. Like, he's been elite at putting this year. He's been an elite iron player. He's been an elite driver of the golf ball. So check out this chart I had to get.
We got a chart.
Look at this chart that I had to come up with.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
An HRR, parlay, a combo that you want to do. I generally prefer away teams and players that hit at the top of the lineup or in the top half, just because you are guaranteed just that extra plate appearance here or there. How many times, like throughout the season, I've been like, listen, if this guy gets on, he will have one more at bat in the 9th inning. And if he doesn't get there, If you just take them that's placed higher, they're going to be in a spot to cash that
pro baseball today. Only on SportsGrid.
When you hear about San Diego, sometimes it's a little lingo like this. San Diego Superchargers. Well, they don't have the Chargers anymore, but boy, do they got the Padres. And they made some moves at the deadline, and things are looking good. 67-52 now with a victory last night over the San Francisco Giants, 4-1. I'm going to start here in this game. Robert Suarez gets that close over there, 33 on the season. Fantastic. Love that bullpen. That's going to win in September and October. Trust me on that. But here's the thing. Logan Webb is now 10-9 on the season, Joe. It's one of my favorite pitchers, like vying for the Cy Young. Like, this guy, you can't touch him. Why is everybody able to touch Logan Webb now? 6 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, only 3 strikeouts. Darvish was the star last night. 10 hits for the Pods on the road in unfriendly confines up there in San Francisco. The Pods get the win, and I'm telling you right now, you better watch out for those Padres down the stretch, Joe Ranieri.
Yeah, and listen, this was a 0-0 game through 5 innings. So once again, we're starting to see, that third time through the order and, some familiarity between these two teams being division rivals and all. He got tattooed, ran out of a little bit of steam there. But I think the bigger story is Darvish. He looked really good in that game. The ball was moving last night for Darvish, and that's great news for the Padres moving forward. He struck out 6, and he didn't walk a guy. That is vintage Darvish there last night. So, yes, I think that's great news for the Padres if they have any aspirations of catching the Dodgers here. They need Darvish. They need Dylan Cease. They need this front end of the rotation to be locked down, and they got Michael King back. So all signs are pointing up for the Padres here.
Hear me out, Joe, right? Like I like to be commissioner of sports. I want to be owner of the San Francisco Giants. Allow me that for just a few moments. Is it just so simple that we can't win because we have a ballpark that in the middle of the summer is 55 degrees. Nobody can hit. We try to get Devers over here to help us. He's hitting 231. Last night, they're 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position, which means they had 2 runners in scoring position the entire night. They only have 3 runners on base. They score 1 run here. You see what Oakland is doing. They're not winning because they don't spend any money and their roster isn't all that good, particularly with their front-end starting pitching. If the San Francisco Giants, and I know this is unpopular, can we just bulldoze where they play? If it's T-Mobile, whatever they call the ballpark right now, Oracle, whatever it might be. Can we go more inland here? Can we get 85-degree temperatures in the summer? Can we move the fences in? Can we actually get players that want to play in San Francisco because that ballpark is not just beautiful that you look out of, that you can actually hit and do damage here? Is the ballpark an issue for the San Francisco Giants? I'm just asking, Joe.
Listen, what are you going to do with all those people in hooded Parkers in kayaks out in right field, Donnie? In, it might be freezing water temperatures all year round. What are you going to do with those poor people if you go inland? They ain't moving anytime soon. But I think it's fascinating that you finally got a power hitter to agree to, well, not that he had much of a choice, but you got yourself that big power hitter in Devers, who did, to his credit, have a home run last night in this game. But the surrounding cast here is just, they're awful. They can't manufacture runs in any way, shape, or form. To get shut out by the Nats, only to come back and score 1 run last night in your own home, it's not good. The Giants just are not a good offensive team. Ballpark aside, this happens on the road as well, Donnie, which tells me, they got some things to figure out there in San Francisco.
Like, it's any surprise, over the past 5 years, free agents are like, hey, San Francisco's got a lot of money, we're open for business, and they keep passing them by because there is something about legacy. It's not as bad as saying, I'm a really good pitcher, let me take the most money, go to Colorado, understanding you will never make the Hall of Fame, but you'll make a lot of money. You'll be in the Hall of Fame of money, but sometimes it is factored in, like San Francisco. I can go there, or I can, like Aaron Judge. we will pay you way more money than the Yankees are going to pay you. And he's like, I'd rather stay with the Yankees. Number one, it's New York.
And he's
sure
from San Francisco.
Yes, and he's from San Francisco. You're right. Where then you say, well, I can hit 60 home runs or I can hit 32 home runs. Make your choice. Now, Barry Bonds was that alien. And yes, he was all lubed up in different ways, as we know, crushing home runs. But nobody does that in San Francisco. Like, you go there as a hitter with all that money. You're going to take the money. You hope you win, but you have to understand this. Your batting average will be lower. Your home run numbers will be lower. And when you retire, you're going to be like, man, I probably cost myself 50 home runs because I played in San Francisco. It's just the way it goes here. And sometimes you just have to wonder, does that ballpark keep the hitters away that you're going to need to compete against teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers? Just one way to think about it at this point. But you know what? Hour number 2 is coming up, where we reach out to the people in our Fade the Public poll and see which way they went. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Wright's out. We're just getting cooking right here on a Tuesday.